Okay, here we have part 3 of the HG Uraven Gundam review. So in part 3 we are going over the Uraven Gundam, since on part 2 we finished applying the armor. So let's see what we got. So let's take it off from the rotating stand and see from the front. So compared to the past armors, it definitely has a lot more bulk than you think. I think it's mostly because of the shoulders, but yeah, once again, that extra shield thing going on the back is going to make it a little bit slightly tricky to pose or balance time to time, because it is going to be slightly back heavy. Now, as you can see, when this armor was actually shown in the anime series, I don't really remember if they actually showed him holding the sensors on the back, because right off the bat these were like floating around. So, but if you are curious where to store them, as I mentioned in part 2, there's one on the back that goes onto the shield connector here, and then there's 2 that goes onto the shoulder. So just for the sake of it and for the demonstration part, I'm gonna take off these as well. And also, as I mentioned, if you want to do so, you can move these up front like this. Although I'm not really sure if these things also work as a weapon up to this point. Alright, so let's go over the articulation and go over the, how should I say, some demonstration poses, and then we're going to do some compatibility test as well. Alright, so let's see what we got. So starting off with the hand. So basically anybody who bought any of the past variants should know how the articulation works, because if the Core Gundam can do it, then obviously the armor version can do it as well. So go down, up, pretty much the same on 360 twist on the head. So no need to worry about that. The only part I'm having with this mode is the shoulders. Not this side, but this side tends to be a little bit more wobbly, or tend to fall off a little bit more easily, but still 360 twist is no problem. Lower arm 360 twist is also no problem at all. Double jointed bend, ball jointed hand, no problem at all. 360 twist on the body is not possible as well, as usual, and you can still, despite having that backpack, you can still move side to side. And then for now, for me, I don't really separate the front skirts, at least for the Core Gundam, because it makes it really hard to apply these front skirt arm parts as well. So if they're not separated, it's much more easier to do so. And with that, we still have the same amount of articulation forward, but not so much for the back because of the back armor, and we still have a nice side swivel going on here. And now we have a more proper double jointed bend going on here, thanks to the overall structure. Let's put that down, and then we have a nice pivot going on here, and forward and backward is also possible. And also going about almost 90 degrees to the side is possible as well. Alright, so I think we've seen the basics of the articulation. So it's pretty much almost identical as the Core Gundam, minus the legs, which can move technically more as well, thanks to the extra connection going on here. And for the back, you may have noticed it's not falling off anymore. I did apply some liquid on that, so it doesn't really fall off anymore. But yeah. So, for those who are curious, yes, the side parts do actually have the sensors as well. Of course, they don't actually give you any connectors, which I can understand why, because one side is a peg, one side is the hole, so I'm not sure if there's any strings that have both aspects as well. So you're going to have to make your own or be more creative using action bases. So, speaking of action bases, I'll be right back with some action bases to do some demonstration. Okay, here's the first demonstration. So currently I don't really have many action bases other than these Tamashii Nation Stage Act 4. So I'm using one of the stands, and then these 3 rods. And the main reason why I'm using these 3 rods is that these sensors that fly around, they have pegs. If they actually had holes, I would have much more easier time displaying these, but since it's the other way around, and the only thing I actually have that can take in pegs is these. So these things actually have holes on the top, so which is why I am able to plug it in like that. And on the Uraven Gundam itself, I basically use the open hand for this pose, so to make him look like he's actually commanding them as well. Alright, and other than that, for those who missed on the second part, is that yes, you can the rifle does go in and extend as well. So okay, so we done the sensors that fly around. So let's go with. I'll be right back with the demonstration for the sensors that are stored in the legs. Okay, I'm back. So currently, I got rid of those 3 sensors, and now I got the sensors that are inside the leg, and then attached them to action bases, since I don't really have any strings or wires for them to connect at the moment. So currently I'm doing a more sniping pose, and the sniping pose definitely works out pretty well on this kit as well. You can do the double hand pose with no problem at all. And also, what I also like about this is that you actually have a handle that you can store in like this on each side. So there's not only one, but there's two of them on each side. So if you want to go with the left hand, you can do that as well. Of course, you're going to have to move this to the other side as well. And the inside of the legs are pretty empty on here as well. So this, once again, I'm currently using this connection, which the end is a peg. So this thing actually has a hole here, so which is actually pretty useful. Problem is, if you're going to connect it to wire, the other problem is the other section is a peg. So once again, you're going to have to work your way around on which one to actually use to do so. So because in the series, this one was actually wire connected as well. But yeah. And that's pretty much it for the Uraven Gundam itself. So now we have some compatibility tests for now. So I think, like in the series, let's see how it looks like when we actually swap some armors between them. So let's give the Core Gundam, the original Core Gundam, the Uraven Gundam, Uraven armor parts, and then on the Core Gundam 2, let's give it the Earth 3 armor parts. So I'll be right back. Okay, so we basically swapped the armors. So now the Core Gundam 2 now has the Earth 3 armor, and then the original Core Gundam now has the Uraven armor. Now I only have the Earth 3 armor for now because I was not able to get the other armor parts like the V2 or the Mars unit. So sorry about that, but I think this is enough example to show you guys how it looks like. So they are a perfect fit to each other because obviously the armor parts were originally made. I believe at least the Uraven armor was at least made for the Core Gundam originally. So yeah, so they do fit pretty well, and yeah, I don't really feel much of a difference other than the color scheme because of all those white parts going on here on the Core Gundam 2. So yeah. So I think there's only one thing left to do is to give the Uraven armor to the Alus Core Gundam, and let's see if it actually fits perfectly. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So finally I applied the Uraven armor onto the Alus Core Gundam, and it looks amazing. The color scheme actually matches the unit, and it looks even much better than I thought. Keep in mind, if you're going to apply other armor parts to the Alus Core Gundam, you're not going to be applying the V-fin onto the original head, but you're going to be applying the V-fin on the third head that they provide, which is like a full visor type head. Of course, it's a sticker on the face, but still, this looks amazing. And I think that's pretty much it for the review. So I would like to mention, if I get any other armor variants of the Core Gundam 2, unless I actually just buy the armor, that's going to be a different story. But if I actually do get like sets of the armor, I won't be going over showing the combination between the new armor and then the original Core Gundam, because I think at this point that's going to be a little bit redundant. But I will be trying to apply them onto the Alus Core Gundam just for the sake of it. Anyway, for those who like this, definitely go get it. Or if you want to get some more armor parts for the Alus Core Gundam, definitely go for it as well. Anyway, that was pretty much it for the review of the HG Uraven Gundam. If you guys got any questions, or you can even comment below, I still have more stuff to buy and build and make reviews out. So please stay tuned. Until then, see you guys next time!